jump in. So, as you can see, Matt Harshman, we just saw him win round number 1, so he's going to be hopping over. RJ was battling it out against Keenan and was able to get that victory there. Blue-white control taking out that mono-red Phoenix to make it into the first semi-final match. TJ making a good point in here, and something that crops up, I feel like almost every top 8 that we do, is that some players try different things. They try to meta pick, they try to be creative, but those that are familiar with the decks tend to do better, right? So TJ was like, hey, I wanted to try to get out of my comfort zone. I've been playing a lot of blue-white. I mainly play Grixis Death Shadow when I play that. Didn't work out. I tried to do the Esper and just was making some sloppy moves, not as tight of play, could have done some surgical moves better, and things like that he's kind of noticing now. And just Modern definitely rewards those that are more knowledgeable or more familiar with their decks. And part of it is getting out and doing those grinds and testing and, you know, making sure that you have a list that feels good for you in an optimal way. Of course, you do have flex spots in almost every deck that you can kind of adjust according to certain numbers based on how metas are shifting. Again, specific sideboard cards, things like that. It's challenging when a meta basically gets shrunk down to only 8 decks. And how are you going to deal with that? So, if I'm not good at Magic, should I make a prison deck so my opponent can't play so I win? Yes. If that's the style that you want to play, you do you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about RJ's list, since we know what's going on, at least in Matt's Dredge list. Let me close that one out, since we're not using that anymore. RJ. Alright, so, as you would expect from pretty much the stock list, right, we do got Snapcasters. Clicks are also the other creature of choice that we see RJ running. The Planeswalker set, he is up to 8. 2 of our old school Teferi, if you will, the Hero of Dominaria. We've got 1 of the new ones, which is the Time Raveler. 2 Jace Mind Sculptor, 3 Narset, which, again, for most people that are catching back up in control style, Search for Escanta, don't need it anymore. Narset does better because of its static ability in addition to being able to find stuff. So, definitely worth it. You also don't have to waste your mana tapping for Search when you can just -2 loyalty on a Planeswalker. Spells are pretty normal, right? Board wipes, counter spells. He is running 2 Force of Negation in his list, in addition to some Dovin's Veto, a main board Surgical. So, keep that in mind. Is also going to be rocking out the Blast Zone, which can be relevant when your opponent is trying to go wide. So, don't want to get too deep into what sideboards look like yet, but we will dive into it when it gets time. I like TJ's explanation. He says, I like to play Little Teferi because it forces my opponent just to play Hearthstone. Let's just play Hearthstone here. Right. So the way it's determined about who goes first is that seeding, in that regard of who placed higher in the season. So RJ was 3rd, So he does get to be on the play. Everything's at sorcery speed. Finishing up those mulligans. There's a Flooded Strand and a pass. But again, both players know what they're up against, so they can determine their mulligans a little bit better in regards to that. And there's that turn 1 Faithless Looting. Pretty good way to go. Prized Amalgam, Stinkweed, Imp going in. Again, that Imp has that pretty high Dredge amount on it for 5. Being able to throw 5 other cards into his graveyard is pretty powerful. RJ dropping down, getting this lovely island. I've got to say, the basic choices from our players so far tonight, on point, on point. Nice Serum Visions to start things out. Path to Exile is pretty nice to be up at the top. Colonnade, so again, just sort of, hey, you're not doing too much yet, I'm not doing too much yet. That's a good amount of lands. Wow. Okay, so there's 2 Prized Amalgams in there, but again, this is the setup stage for Matt and his deck, where he's just sort of building up, ready to kind of hit a Narcomoeba, get something going so he can really hop off here. Right? Blood Gas in the graveyard, something like that would be nice too. Cathartic, let's dump 2 more Dredgers in there, and he can dredge even more now off of this Cathartic, so he can be able to choose to skip his draw steps to dredge away, and we do see that with the first Stinkweed Imp there. Going to be getting 5 more cards into his graveyard. And there's the second one. Let's go. Anything good? Okay, Blood Gas is not bad. That can at least help him for next turn. Ooh, drain 3, gain 3, and a Narcomoeba as well. Yikes. That was pretty good. And Matt's going to be back to 20. Conflagrate, another Prized Amalgam there. Gross. Triggers. Bam. Let's do this. Here's the other 2. That was a pretty good turn, right? That seems like a nice turn too that you want to have happen. 3 Prized Amalgam, Narcomoeba over there. And then Matt's just getting his graveyards kind of set up and organized a little bit here. So there still are some relevant cards in his graveyard. RJ is now going to have to start chipping away, because that's a pretty quick clock if he's not careful. You know, 10 points of damage on the battlefields, you know, that's a 2-turn clock. Dredge away. Another Narcomoeba. Seems good. Play land, get the Blood Gas back. Combat, just in case there's something crazy going on. Let's blow that up. Let's both get a land. RJ is looking probably for that plains at this point. We'll be able to path at least one of those guys. Oh, not having basic there. Also going to be nice when you throw that path. Get rid of 1. It's still 7 points of damage though. RJ's going to fall to 9. Hello, Addie. Blast Zone there. Let's get some dredging. Oh, another Blood Gas. Oh, Creeping Chills. Nice. $23. So again, for those that have forgotten what Creeping Chill does, another path coming out here. 3 more damage going to be used though. We'll drop RJ down to 3. Puts an extra counter so we can at least kill off those annoying Narcomoebas. But he's at 3, so he's got to have a way to kill off the prized amalgams. You may go. Click. I'm going to put my own card at the bottom to draw a card. Declare those blockers, trade them off. Timely, that's pretty good. So he's going to be able to gain 6 life. Go back to 9. He also gets a couple soldiers, 3 to be exact. Some more dredging taking place. Landfall trigger. 1, 2, 3. Prized amalgams come back. At least 1, because the other 2 have been exiled. But Blood Gas can make things tough. So we do see some blocks taking place because they do have haste. RJ will take 2 off those flyers. Drop down to 7. Combat. I'd like to tap your team and draw a card. Discard this at the end of my turn. So this is one of these weird positions where it's like Matt is running out of momentum but still keeping up the pressure, and RJ's able to kind of delay, but he's gotten to the point where he now is the one sort of dictating the flow of the game. Hero of Dominaria comes down. Another Cryptic. Again, delay, 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 guys. Ah, I got another path, though, it looks like. So you can be able to get rid of at least the prized amalgam here. Snapcaster. Timely reinforcements. RJ's going to go back to 13. Get some more guys, and looks like we've had enough. Matt just says, okay, you're getting out of my range. I can't sit here and hit a bunch of creeping chills in a row and hope to get you kind of thing. It's not going to happen. So let's just get into sideboard time, and we can go from there. All right. All right. So for those that have forgotten what sideboards are looking like, let's talk sideboards. Let's talk at least what RJ's got. So we talked about what Matt had last time. So let's talk a little bit about what RJ's got. So you can see he does have his own set of counterspells still in there. Dispel, Dovin's Veto, Disdainful Stroke, pretty solid cards. Then he's got some Graveyard Hate with things like Rest in Peace. Works really well if your opponent is focused on their graveyard. He does have things like Celestial Purge, which is some extra removal to kind of help him out here. I also really like the Ashiok here. So Ashiok prevents your opponent from being able to do some fetching and stuff. We can also put it up on stream so you guys can see it too. But prevents people from being able to fetch, and you can remove a loyalty counter to mill the top 4 cards and then exile everything in your opponent's graveyard. Seems pretty good. Seems nice. I like that. I'm a fan. Detention Sphere is also nice because your opponent is going to be playing a lot of duplicates, the same stuff, right? Here's these prized amalgams, here's these Narcomoebas, here's these Blood Gas. I can be able to get rid of all of them. You could say Timely Reinforcement did a lot of work there of just kind of getting that delay tactic worked pretty nicely. There's definitely a lot of arguments for cards that RJ can bring in. Thing is, though, you don't want to be too focused on, hey, I'm just going to over sideboard and have a bunch of redundant things that might be less relevant later on. But you don't want to have too few cards brought in to help you out. Like, you want to have them in your opening hand or close to one of your opening hands to kind of help you there. So we're going to have to see how RJ decides to approach his boarding. Let's see, this size might be a little too big. Let's see. Yep, that's a little big. Let's get rid of that and just add in, for everyone that forgot, let's look at his board again. There we go. Sideboard. Bam, bam, bam. Ghost Quarter, Alpine Moon, Lightning Axe, Nature's Claim, Ancient Grudge, Assassin's Trophy, Leyline of the Void. So again, I like the Assassin's Trophy. Your opponent's playing annoying lands. Your opponent's playing Planeswalkers. There's a lot to go for here. Maybe even Alpine Moon you might be able to make an argument for based on some of the lands, like the man lands, the blast zone. Like, there's a lot of lands that you might want to be able to use that for, but it's hard to say. Like, Lightning Axe not really relevant in this matchup. Ghost Quarter, again, you could make the argument to try to bring in some land hate, but really those also are mainly for things like Tron and stuff like that. But they can pull some duty against the blue-white control deck. But I love the Assassin's Trophy. I think that's like number one need to bring in. Right, getting things ready. Again, this is our top 8 Invitational. So these players have been putting forth a lot of hard work and effort to make it into this. This is season number 11. We've been going for quite a long time now. Alright, let's go. Faithless Looting. Super powerful card, guys. People still saying it needs to be banned. I don't really care. Unban more stuff. That's what I want. Stinkweed Imp, though, dredging away is pretty good in the start here. Well, there's an Assassin's Trophy. Cathartic Reunion. Not really hitting some of the stuff that he wants. We'll see how his follow-up is, though. Again, these first few turns for Dredge are the setup stages. We got to see some really nice power come out previously, that turn 2, so this is when we're hoping to kind of hit, and there we go. That's what we're hoping for, right? Getting that Narcomoeba when we've already got some prize amalgams going. So dredge away as much as we can on that second turn to see how much we can get to hit onto the battlefield. And there's another Creeping Chill, so let's get some drain going. Let's swap life totals here. Oop. That's not what I want. That's the one I want. So 9 power on board right now. Let's get rid of one of them. Here's a path. Still 6 points of damage, though. Still getting access to some basics. Alright, let's keep up this Dredge train. Alright, so fetching took 6 more damage. Went to 4. Another Dredge power here. Another Bloodghast. Another Narcomoeba. Trigger. Snapcaster. That's okay. Can get in the way. Uh-oh. There's the fetch. Dark Blast. Before blocks. Ooh, Arcane Prophet asking, is Renin 6 format warping? That is a really good question. I think it is a extremely powerful card. I think it's, especially in like Dredge or not Dredge, in like Jund and stuff like that, it's got the power to go just crazy. You get a ding off and deal damage to annoying creatures. Like 2 loyalty planeswalker to help getting your lands back is super strong. Is it format warping? I don't know. I don't know if it's the end all be all though. You know, I think it's powerful. I think it can shift the meta slightly around it, but I don't know. I guess maybe Legacy, where you can, you have more access to things like Wastelands, and it's, I don't know. Maybe there are lists that will be more warped around it and stuff. I think there's so many powerful cards in Modern right now, right? So it's hard to say. It's nice to see Jund kind of coming back in regard, because it's a powerful deck, because that means that Tron will come back more, and if Tron comes back more, Infect comes back. Oh, I got distracted, guys, and life totals were off. Boo! How to beat Infect. Play Chalice on 1. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like Infect against Tron players feels so good. But yeah, Chalice is annoying. But that's why we've got that, new artifact removal that we just remove a green spell, and then it's all good. All right, RJ did his best to try. He tried, but it was not enough this time around. The Dredge train kept rolling through. I think that was also a good showing of the power of getting the Dredge board established on turn 2. Yeah, Eldrazi Tron is strong, though, because it does have things like Chalice already in it, and it just has some powerful creatures. So Arcane, are you? I know you're talking about how strong it is in Dredge in particular, but are you one of those people that are in the camp to get rid of Faithless Looting from Modern? It is really powerful, and in this instance, we got to see, hey, here's 12 power, early on in the game. Other decks like the Phoenix style decks, that's a lot of burst damage that can be coming your way. So it's a good card, but is it too good? I think is the question. Alright, game 3 getting ready. Players are shuffling up. Getting ready. Blue-white control versus Dredge. RJ and Matt currently tied 1-1 here in this series. Matt still maybe debating about his sideboard and stuff and going back and forth on how he wants to set things up, it looks like. Okay, so 1 mana, draw 2. Discarding is just kind of a bonus effect for the decks that run it, so seems too strong. All right, I get where you're coming from. I mean, when you think about it too, it's like when Blue's trying to do stuff, right? They're opting, right? They're playing Serum Vision, where they're still only drawing 1 card. They might get some setup later on, but Faithless Looting is pretty strong. So RJ ready to go. Waiting on Matt. And again, they have access to deck lists. They know how things are looking. Matt's still just sort of trying to navigate through, really hoping to get a particular hand. That's why he's been doing that adjustments to his sideboard and his main board here while we're waiting. So, okay, I know I've seen some of the stuff that you brought in. I know how things are looking. Yeah, I heard somebody talking recently that a lot of the decks that are in Modern and the way that the Modern format is set up is it's like Legacy light. Right? It's just like a few degrees shy of some of the legacy decks that exist. And it's just crazy to think about is, yeah, we're missing some key power cards from legacy, but just the power level that Modern has overall is crazy. Like, if you looked at the format and the meta and the way decks were when we started Modern Magic Mondays. Now, that was also when we started, 2016 was Eldrazi Winter. So it might not be the best argument. But post that, like post Eldrazi Winter, if we look at what was in the format, what was going on compared to the decks and the power level that's around now, it's pretty crazy. All right, Surgical is pretty nice. Looking through the list, making sure he gets all the numbers right. Legacy is so much more gratifying. I agree. Even playing Infect, right? There's a difference between just like, here's an Invigorate, right? I don't even have to tap mana for this. He just gets +4, right? That seems really good. Yeah, you can gain life. I don't care. All right. Legacy is a lot of fun. I'm a fan of Legacy. Jimmy Lance talking about how Modern doesn't have too many fair decks, quote unquote. Yeah, I think Jun's coming back, and Jun has traditionally been the more fair style of Magic, where it's just like, hey, I'm just a mid-range deck trying to do mid-range things, right? Oh, that's true. Okay. Blue-White Control is also consider that fair deck, if we will, right? And there's a decent amount of people top 8ing with it. Alright, more Faithless Lootings. Dredging around. It's been another one of those build-up stages for Matt, and that's perfectly fine by RJ, right? He's perfectly fine of just saying, hey, you don't have threats on the battlefield for me to have to worry about. I can just play a land and pass. We can do this game. That's fine with me. $17 all. I'm just going to punch my mic. Don't mind me. Okay, now we can start getting some threats at least. Click. I want to look at your hand, he says. Ooh, there's an Assassin's Trophy in there. Cathartic Green going away, though. Another really powerful enabler. Let's get some dredging here with this Dark Blast coming back so I can at least kill the click. Worst case scenario. Alright. Getting them landfalls. Blood gas coming back. That means those double prize amalgams down at the bottom get to come back. Dark Blast, -1/-1, the click. Clear the field. Another fetch from Matt, but there's no threat, so it's okay. He can just keep going. Drops to 13. Okay, so there's more discussion talking about Hogak and stuff in the chat here that I do want to say is, like, I feel that people shouldn't have to mainboard Leyline of the Void. I don't think that is showing a healthy format. I think that there should be powerful graveyard decks like Dredge, right? I think that's perfectly reasonable to have decks like this exist. But I do not think that decks that can be able to basically have free stuff, like Hogak, here's an 8/8 Trampler on turn 2, that's pretty scary. Alright, here's a bunch of Vengevines, like, I don't know. I like Vengevine's idea of a card, right? Oh, if it's in the graveyard, you cast 2 creatures, bring it back kind of thing, but I don't know. It's not going to stick around forever, that's for sure. I know, right, Dredge is all about free stuff, but in the scheme of things, prized amalgams are like the biggest power that you have to deal with, right? Here's 3 power, right? This is 5 coming across, but, well, none because he tapped with Cryptic kind of thing. But I'm saying is, like, here's 5 compared to, here's an 8/8, right, with Trample that I cast for free. Where Dredge's free stuff is not really you're casting it for free, it's like triggers off of you throwing cards away. I don't know. I think it's like the go wide strategy that is Dredge is strong, and we've seen some hands where Matt's been able to be like, here's turn 2, right, I've got 10 power on board, which is scary, but when you take a look and you're like, okay, it's a bunch of creatures, he's going wide kind of thing, and it's like, oh, here's his big 8/8, it's one big guy, and my, like, Fatal Push is useless against this, where if you're running Fatal Push in particular, you can be like, okay, I can kill off some of these Dredge things, right? I can chip away at this and slowly kind of climb my way back, but it's very hard when you sit there and are facing down this giant Colossus 8/8 Trample guy. I don't know. I think that there's there is a place for graveyard strategies in Modern, and I think graveyard strategies are cool, and it's a good way to take advantage of Magic being a strategic game where I also have to keep track of not only what's in my hand, what's on the field, what's on your side of the field, what could be in your hand, as well as what could still be in both of our decks, but now I also have to keep track of my graveyard and what relevant stuff is still here that I could be able to use to help me edge my way to victory, and or what creatures can I be able to reanimate back. And I think that's a cool strategy. I like this sort of style, but I don't think that there needs to be new cards that just explode like Hogak and things like that. I don't know. It's a hard balance, right? It's a hard way to kind of get things set up where you want something to be more viable. Graveyard strategies are cool. Let's try some more graveyard strategies. Then you get the Hogak attack and things get crazy, right? Yeah, see, people are talking like I'm playing things like Surgicals on turn 2. I'm playing, Rest in Pieces on turn 2, and I'm still losing to the deck. Like that, I feel is too much. That's not what Modern is supposed to be about, where it's already turn 2, you've basically lost. Yes, there are decks that can do that, because after all, I am the Infect player here, but it's still not showing a healthy format if that's how it goes. Arcane Prophet saying, I'm at the point where I'd like to play against Blue-White Control, just so I have a chance of winning, and I hate playing against Control. Oh, good decks. Valakut, Jund, Infect, and Elves. Alright, there's the Assassin Trophy going to clear the way. Kill off our Time Raveler there, allowing RJ to be able to get another land. I feel like our life totals are off, guys. I've been more focused on talking about Hogak and talking to chat this round, which I apologize for, but alright, I at least know that he's taken 2 this turn, right? You could say he's close to 15, maybe. I like that Titan Shift, but with no Through the Beach, it's just too cute for me. Man, look at Matt's hand. He's sitting there like, man, these prize amalgam in my hand real sucks. I gotta get him out of here. Let's get some more lands. I'm going to conflagrate you to death. Just you wait. Okay, Matt's going to drop down to 11. But again, it's like, hey, you don't have any relevant threats on the board. You have 1 planes left. So that's a lot of cards. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoa, that was nice. That was a nice one. Here's 8 cards, all right? And he's just like, that's cool that you just dumped your hand, but I have a Force of Negation. So, no, we're not going to do that. That force just, like, feels good. Like, who thought that putting a force in Modern was a good idea? No, it's alright. You can only play it on your opponent's turn. You can't play it on your turn. It's fine. It'll be alright. But there's those blowout stages right there. I like it. I mean, I'm a fan of the green one. Don't get me wrong. All you Chalice players out there, get out of here. Alright. Is that a blood gas that he just played swing into? So his life's got to be lower than I thought. We're going to say he's at 8 then. I don't know. Maybe less than that. I missed some math, guys. Because remember, the blood gas has haste as long as your opponent has 10 or less life, so maybe he was at 10. I don't know. Regardless, that's a lot of power back on the board. Narcomoeba sitting at the bottom. Prized Amalgam's tapped. 2 blood gas. RJ just going to pass here. That blast zone there ticking up is pretty nice. It's at 2, so it can at least kill the blood gas and the Narcomoebas, and then you're just taking 3. Combat. Doesn't matter. Life totals must have been a little different than I anticipated, enough that the 3 points of damage would have killed him there. Alright, so Matt Harshman, Dredge is got the power. Dredging it out worked again, so we see Matt Harshman will be moving on to the finals. I believe this is his second finals, maybe third? I don't know. He's been coming out and playing in the top 8 quite a bit. I know my light is a little bit weird. I have it over there right now instead of this big bright one, but I've been doing some work over at that desk, so lighting and everything's weird. So don't worry about it, guys. But we've got another semifinals to show you. So let's hop over and see our other 2 players, hoping to see if they can make it into the finals.